Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Alright, so today we're going to talk about giving it all to God. And people for YouTube can't see the screen, but that's alright. And it's funny, in our world today, and especially in America, we're like such a driven society, the concept of like surrender or anything like that is completely foreign. Because you get to thinking about it, and our whole society is on like push harder, work harder, do more, like go further. And so when I was looking up things for the sermon, I was like, I got nothing. I couldn't find anything. I was like, I can't find anything interesting here. But I ended up finding a couple of quotes. So, the first quote I found is very interesting, I think. And it's from this Forbes article, and it's literally the first thing that she talks about. Is this is her number one thing that she says you need to know to become a high-achieving person, according to Brianna West at Forbes.com. Alright? And she said, nothing in life is certain.
Amen.
There are no guarantees ever. Building your own business or embarking on a side project or trying a whole new career doesn't mean you're diverting from the path of certainty and into a life of reckless unknown. It means you recognize that certainty is largely an illusion. You recognize that certainty is largely an illusion.
All right.
And clinging to it can ultimately hold you back. So the key thing here is that you recognize that it's largely an illusion. And now certainty in our lives may look like that we just we have a plan in our mind of like how our lives are supposed to go, or like we have a idea or a desire, or like we know what we want from our lives, and we cling to those things. But those things, which I hope I'm going to show today, can be things that ultimately hold you back. Alright? Now, this is worldly wisdom that I believe is in the Bible as well. Alright? Worldly wisdom that is in the Bible as well. Or probably Bible wisdom that the world has also found out. And I think that quote is amazing. And then another one by Oswald Chambers. Now, I had to modify this a little bit because his theology is very flawed. But like, he tried, I'm sure. The reason some of us are such poor specimens of Christianity is because we have no almighty God. We have Christian attributes and experiences, but there is no abandonment to God. So it's saying, Oswald Chambers here is saying that the reason why we are such poor specimens of what a Christian should be is because we do not abandon to God. That we cling to the things that hold us back. That we cling to the things that hold us back. We do not abandon to God. Alright, and I'm hoping that we'll see this in, if you have your Bible, we're going to be working at 1 Samuel, like pretty much all day. So if you want to go to 1 Samuel, the very first chapter. So 1 Samuel 1. Alright, let's see if I can find that. So, 1 Samuel 1. Here we go. And there are a lot of good names in here. So you guys, like, this passage is going to put me to this test. It says, there is a certain man, in verse 1, 1 Samuel 1, says, 1:1. It says, there was a certain man of Ramati Zophim, of the hill country of Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah, the son of Jeroham, the son of Eliu, the son of the son of Tohu, the son of Zu, uh, and Ephraite. All right, so we're having some fun with names there.
Boy, that's weird.
Y'all are loading me up. So this man, Elkanah, because as soon as they go into genealogies, my immediate reaction is like, so who are the person we're actually talking about here? I tend to get a little lost. But we're talking about Elkanah, all right? And Elkanah had two wives. He had two wives. The name of one was Hannah, and the name of the other was Penninah. And Penninah had children, but Hannah had no children. So we had a man with two wives. One had children, one did not have any children. Now, this is significant because, all right, I think there's a great deal of, you can definitely see this, is many times men in that era, because they wanted to have an heir, and if they couldn't have an heir with their first wife, they would marry again to make sure that they had an heir to all that they had. All right, even though their first wife was barren, they would marry again so that they made sure they had an heir. All right. So it says in verse 3, it says, now this man, he had two wives and he had no children with the first. It says, this man used to go up year by year from his city to worship and to sacrifice to God. Sacrifice to the Lord of hosts at Shiloh, where the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Penninah, were priests of the Lord. On the day when Elkanah sacrificed, he gave portions to Penninah and his wife, and to all her sons and daughters. Alright, so all her sons and daughters. So there's a plural here. Alright, so we're just gonna look at this. So if there's a plural of sons, that means both. At least two, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have at least two sons.
Yeah.
Alright? And if we have daughters, so that's at least two daughters. So this other woman had at least 4 children, from what I can read from the text.
Amen.
I'm trying to pull it out, but it doesn't actually say a number. So I'm trying to figure it out, same way as we all are. And it says, but to Hannah he gave a double portion, because he loved her, though the Lord had closed her womb. Alright? And notice here, this is the first time this says it. The Lord had closed Hannah's womb. Alright? And we're dealing with a sensitive subject here, because infertility now is a rough subject to talk about. Infertility in biblical times was even worse.
Yeah.
Alright? It was even worse. Alright? And in verse 6 it says, and her rival used to provoke her grievously to irritate her, because the Lord had closed her womb. Twice. It says, the Lord had closed her womb twice. Alright? So let's just imagine what this is like for Hannah. Alright? Hannah married what she thought was probably like the love of her life, right? She married Elkanah, and like they start they're trying to have children, and they couldn't have children. She finds out she's barren. Alright? Now so what does he do? He goes and takes another wife. How do you think that makes Hannah feel?
Not good.
Let's just say, women tend not to do well when there's another man in the picture. In general, from what I've found. All right. So here you have jealousy because of all that Hannah has going on, and then not only that, but sorry, I was distracted for a minute there. Just trying to bring it back. Not only that, so she has this other wife who you would naturally have this jealous tendency towards, right? And she's naturally jealous towards her because now she has to share her husband with this man.
Yes.
All right? She's sharing her husband with this man, and so then this woman has children. Not just like one child, she has 4 children. So now you can imagine Hannah's all by herself, and this other woman has 4 children running around. And then not only this, 4 children, so she gave that man what he wanted. Right? He wanted an heir, and that woman gave him what he wanted. Right? In a way that she couldn't. Alright? Because the Lord had closed her womb. And then and you can imagine this, right? And this whole scene's playing out. And you can imagine like the grief that this woman's going through.
Amen. That's true.
And then you have all these children running around, right? And they're not hers. So she's watching these other children grow up, but she can't have any of her own.
My God.
Alright? So I looked online. Because I was just curious in my own life, is baby fever a real thing? And like you can imagine a woman like this age with all these children running around, like is baby fever a real thing? Like that was a question. So it turns out that baby fever is a real thing. That your desires to want to have children, one of the number one thing that indicates whether you're going to want to have children or have a higher percentage of chance of wanting to have children is whether you are around children that are like positive. If you are around good children, or if you're around children, you are going to want to have children. So you can imagine, Hannah can't have children, she's around children, so that makes her want to have children more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright, and she can't essentially satisfy what her husband wants. Alright, so now let's pick it up in verse 7. It says, and she has this other wife irritating her and giving her a hard time because she can't have children. Like, can you imagine somebody like rubbing something in your face like, I'm better at you than this, and it's the thing that you want the most in life?
Bad.
So in verse 7 it says, so it went on year by year. So often as she went up to the house of the Lord, she used to provoke her. So every year this happened. Every time they go up to the house of the Lord, this other woman would provoke Hannah. Alright? Every year she'd give her a hard time. Alright? And so you think this would drive a person into a depression. Not being able to have the one thing that they want in life. Naomi, shut the laptop, please.
Are you taking notes on Dan?
I'm taking the Bible. I'm using the Bible.
Okay. Let's focus on Dan right now.
Alright, so it went on. Therefore, verse 7 says, so it went on year by year, as often as she went up to the house of the Lord. She used to provoke her. Therefore, Hannah wept and would not eat. Alright, so now you have a woman who's not eating, and she's weeping, and because this woman keeps provoking her because she can't have children. Alright? And it says, and Elkanah, her husband, said to her, Hannah, why do you weep? Why do you not eat? And why is your heart sad? Am I not more to you than 10 sons? Alright? And it says, alright, so like, obviously, her husband's asking her, am I not more to you than 10 sons? So this is biblical proof that men even said stupid stuff thousands and thousands of years ago. Alright? So, biblical proof that men used to say stupid stuff thousands and thousands of years ago.
Yes,
Right.
hallelujah.
And after they had eaten and drunk in Shiloh, so Hannah rose, alright? So they're eating and drinking, Hannah rises, and she said, Eli is sitting at the doorpost of the temple of the Lord, and she is deeply distressed and wept bitterly. And she's praying to God, and she's vowing this vow in verse 11, and said, O Lord of hosts, if you will indeed look on the affliction of your servant, and remember me, and not forget your servant, but will give to your servant a son, then will I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life. Alright? So this is like the one thing that she wanted in the whole world, right? If she wanted a son, if she wanted to have a child, it's the one thing that she wanted the most in this world. And what she does in this verse is like if you look at it, she takes the one thing that she wanted and she says, if you give it to me, God, I'll give it back to you. So she gives up her desires, her wants, her drive for things in life, what she wanted the most, her hope, her dream, because most women are focused relationally. They say, I want to have a family, and that is what they hold near and dear to their heart. And she's taking the one thing that she wants most in this life, and she's saying, God, I give it to you. It is yours.
Amen.
Alright. So let's go ahead and skip down to verse 21 and 22. So Hannah ends up conceiving, having a child. And in verse 21 and 22 it says, the man Elkanah and all his house went up to offer to the Lord the yearly sacrifice and to pay him his vow. But Hannah did not go up, for she said to her husband, as soon as the child is weaned, I will bring him, so that he may appear in the presence of the Lord and dwell there forever. Alright? So she wasn't like when the child is weaned, like in biblical times, that could have been as old as 3. Alright? And so she's saying, give me some time, let me wait on the child, and I'll bring him up to, literally leave him there forever. Alright, is what she's saying. Is that so that I will bring him so that he may appear in the presence of the Lord and dwell there forever. Alright, so she took the one thing that she wanted the most in her life, and she gave it to God, alright? And she gave her son to God. Alright, and you can see this over and over again. You have this with Abraham and Isaac, and you can see this theme. But I think what's bigger than this, because the son that she has is Samuel, the prophet, alright? And Samuel anointed like Saul, the first king of Israel. The first king of Israel. And Samuel anointed the second king of Israel, David, a man after God's own heart. Alright? So what you have here is you have a woman who is in utter despair. She because she can't have children, she can't have the one thing she wants in her life. And she gives that thing to God. And what ends up happening is when she surrenders, when she gives it all to God, when she ends up giving all her wants, all her desires, all her dreams, all her hopes to God, she gets to take part in the work of God. She had a son, a prophet that would go on to anoint these 2 kings, these 2 great kings of Israel, and would go on to serve God. And the same thing applies in our life. Is if you want to take part in God's work, you can't just dip your toe in the water and say it's alright. If you want to play keep me, these are my wants and my desires, but I'm still going to serve God in the way that I want to serve Him.
Yes.
And that's the dangerous thing, is that we say we only bring part of what we have.
Yeah.
Alright, and we hold back our hopes and our dreams and our wants and our desires.
Yes.
And we hold those things back. And it might not even be, here's the dangerous thing, because a lot of us are already serving God. And that's the dangerous thing is that when you start serving God, you get a vision of what God wants you to do.
That's right.
And sometimes that's not necessarily God, but it's you in your own mind. Alright? And it can get dangerous because now not only are you you're holding on to things that God doesn't want you to hold on to. You're crafting what you want God to do instead of taking part in what God wants you to do. So in a way, you basically become your own God when you do that.
Uh-oh. Lord have mercy.
Alright, so let's go ahead and turn to Matthew 16:25. We'll look at this really quick. Let me... So in Matthew 16:25, it says, "For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." And I think the implications of this text are larger than we think. Because it says, whoever loses his life for my sake, will ultimately find it. And I think what you have here is you find the life that God wanted you to live. You find a full life. You find the abundant life. When you give it all to God, when you surrender all that you have, you will live an abundant life. Because when you lose it all, it allows God to use you.
Yes.
Alright? And so that's not a small thing. I don't know if you realize this, but being used by God to His glory, to the glory of the kingdom that He has to come, that is not a small thing.
Amen.
Being involved in God's work is not a small thing. Being involved in what God is doing in this world and being able to help shape and help move in the direction that God wants to go, being able to be a part of that
Amen.
is that's good enough for me. And it says, let's go ahead and turn to Romans 12:1 as well. There.
Romans 12:1.
Romans 12:1.
Then, I appeal to you, therefore, brothers and sisters, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God,
Amen.
which is your spiritual worship. And I think the theme here is you gave it all up to God. So earlier this semester, when I was having a rough time, and because there were a lot of questions about what happens after this semester, and that what's next is always our problem. It looks like in life, it's where I'm always focused 3 or 4 months away. You know, when I first started at the college, I wasn't concerned about it because it was a full 12 months away. I wasn't as committed to this whole thing. And I was like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? It doesn't really look like there's any good places to go. It doesn't look like this is all going to come together as I thought it would.
Now you're going to the best place.
Yeah. It didn't look like it was going to come all together like I thought it would, or I thought it could, or like I thought it would if it was God. And you end up in this place where I had my own wants and my own desires, and I didn't know, and I was like, I want to be a pastor, and I want to serve you, but is this what you're calling me to? Is this what you want me to do? And finally it came to a place where I don't really say that I want to be a pastor very often because of a point. Well, for a point. It's because I don't want it to be idolized.
Yeah.
Alright? And I think that's a problem, but I think more than that, I think that I had an idea of what I wanted to do, and I had an idea of where I wanted to go, and I had an idea of where I was meant to serve God. And I'm not saying that isn't where I'm going to end up, but I am saying that it came to such point of contention in my life, of inner turmoil and lack of trust, that it was eating me up. Because I didn't know, because I had my own desires and my own wants and my own things. And just like Hannah, I had to go to God and I had to pray and I had to say, God, if like whatever you want from my life, wherever you want me to go, like send me there.
Amen.
Like whether that's being a pastor, whether that's not being a pastor, whether that's like going back to a regular career, wherever you want me to go, send me there. And I don't care where it is, I don't care what's going on there, I just want to take part in what you're doing in this world. I just want to serve you.
Amen. That's
Where you want me to serve. Alright? And just like Hannah, is that when we give all that we had, when we give all of our hopes and all of our desires and all of our dreams, magically God takes those and he brings them to the spot where he can use you. When you don't have anything in your mind that you want to do for God, and you let God tell you where he wants you, it changes everything. Because all of a sudden, God is God, and Dan is Dan, and Dan's where he needs to be.
Amen.
And God's able to line up what he needs to line up. So I'm asking you today, is I want you to look at your own lives, because I believe that our own hearts are deceptive. In fact, I know they are, because the Bible tells it to me. And I want you to look at your own life, and I want you to look at your hopes and your wants and your desires, and I want you to ask God, say, search my heart, God. Search my heart, and if there's anywhere in my life where I'm not giving you and all to you, where I'm holding back my wants, my desires, my dreams, or what I'm doing in your ministry, God, I ask that you would come in and search my heart, and that you would show that thing to me, and that you would allow me to see that and move past that and give that to you. So that is what I want you to do, is I want you to ask God and go before God humbly and say, God, if there's anything in me that is me, show it to me, that I might change it. Alright, and I'll close in prayer. God, I praise you for all that you are, God. And I praise you for bearing with us through our own self-deceptions, God. God, I ask that that you would come into our lives and show us any areas where we're holding back to you, God, where we're not giving quite everything that we have, where we're acting like Ananias and Sapphira, God, and we're holding back a little bit and we just don't realize it. And I ask that you would come into our heart and show that to us. God, I pray that we would not be self-deceived in what we're doing for you, God. I pray that our hopes and dreams and visions would be aligned with what you want them to be. God, I pray that you would give us a clear focus and that you would help us conform to your will, God, and give us a clear vision of what that will look like. God, I pray that you would help us live holy lives and be conformed to all that you are. And I pray that you would help us love and do good in this world, God, and serve you with a whole heart. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dan.